lift it up?
Just lift it up. Oh, no,
Maybe.
it's fine.
Is it fine? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I have my emotional support bubbles. Tomorrow might have been my 32nd wedding anniversary. I met this guy, Chris, when I was 17, my first day at Sam Houston State University. And he walked past my dorm room and he said, "I'm going to marry you." And I was like, you might want to discuss that with my boyfriend. And that boyfriend situation didn't work out. And Chris and I got to be friends. And then we started dating. And in October of 1992, he said, "Let's get married." I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that. And then he got cold feet, so it didn't happen. And then in January of 1993, we realized we were pregnant. And so we panicked and we eloped and we got married. Zakiya, daughter number 1, was born in September 1993, and that is a love story altogether different. And in October 1995, Naila was born, and in April 1997, Tahira was born. And if you're doing the math right now, I was 24 years old, and I had 3 daughters in car seats. My good friend Lael just reminds me all the time that there was so much hair to comb. There was so much hair, and there was so many tiny white socks. And I was tired a lot, and I was miserable a lot, and I was overwhelmed a lot, and I felt like if I just pour myself into these girls, nobody will ask me how I'm doing. And mostly that's how it went. Nobody asked me how I was doing, and I was miserable. And I was thinking about marriage vows. And you know, in the marriage vow, they say, "Until death do you part." And I wondered how many times and in how many ways do I have to die before I can leave? And I was at my 34th birthday party, and I was talking to my friend Illyria, and I was like, this is so hard, and I'm so tired, and it's been 14 years. And she said, it doesn't have to be 15. And so on Super Bowl Sunday, I called my dad, who I knew would come, because the rule in our house was, if you call me, I will come. And I asked him to come and pick me up. And then I called Illyria and I said, I'm gonna be late for our Super Bowl party because I'm leaving my husband right now. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And then I got a message on MySpace. I don't know if y'all remember MySpace. I got a message on MySpace. This guy, Clarence, a very handsome man he was. He is. He ain't going nowhere. He just ain't with me. Clarence asked me to go to lunch, and I was tired that day too, because 3 children, I was always tired. And I told my coworker, I have this date with this guy, and I really don't feel like going. And she was like, just go. It's just lunch. You never know. We serve a God of the suddenlies, she said. And that date lasted half a day. And when I went to church the next day with my girlfriends, I said, if this man asks me out again, I have been on my last first date. And he asked me out again.
Yes.
And we got married about a year later. And I had 3 daughters, and he had these 2 little boys and a daughter. So we started this Brady Bunch life. And he was the associate pastor at our church, and I was all hands on deck supporting him in ministry. And he supported me while I finally finished my undergraduate degree, and I got a master's degree and started a career as a nonprofit professional. And it was really good on paper. And it was really good in pictures. We were cute, y'all. And I thought that it was hard some days, but that marriage is hard some days. And I didn't think anything that we were facing was insurmountable. But then I lost the job, and I was unemployed for a lot longer than I thought I would be. And we lost our house. And he decided that rather than us stick it out together, that would be a good time for us to get separated. I didn't see it coming. And it hurt. You know that kind of pain where you can't really get yourself together, can't really catch your breath, can't really get yourself up off the floor? It was that kind of pain. And he probably told me why he didn't want to be married to me anymore. It all just sounded like the teacher in Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 right? But the thing that stuck was that he said he didn't know me. And here I was, married to this guy who is a pastor and who has a degree in marriage and family therapy. And he was out here saving other people's marriages, but ours couldn't be saved because he didn't know me. And so at 41, I started from scratch. I moved into an apartment for the first time by myself ever in life. That was until my youngest daughter decided to be my roommate. It's fine. And I started examining my life, examining myself. I poured into some books. The two that stick out for me are Marianne Williamson's A Return to Love and Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes. That book, Year of Yes, is responsible for the one and only tattoo I have. My friend Tina hand wrote the word yes on my shoulder in reverse. So when I look at it in the mirror, I'm reminded to say yes to myself. And it was in those 2 years of separation, when I was trying to figure out my life, that I realized it was probably impossible for Clarence to know me because I didn't know myself. I had spent years getting to know my daughters so I could be a good mother. And I thought I knew my husband's, and I thought I was a pretty good wife. And I had met other people's expectations for 40 years. So I was a decent human. But who the hell was Tracie? And so I started this adventure, Feed the Happy. And I just decided I was only going to do the things that really gave me life. So if I wanted to go for a walk in Herman Park on a random Tuesday morning, yes, please. And if I wanted to eat ice cream for dinner and go to the movies by myself, yes, please. And if I wanted to ride the megabus to Dallas and sleep with this man I used to love, yes, please. And one day I ran into Clarence's daughter, Raven, and she said, "Mom, you're glowing." And I realized that my yeses were paying off. And when I look back at 30 years of my life and 2 marriages, I used to think that I failed. And now I know I was in 2 marriages and they ended. And when anything ends, something else begins. When I was in my first marriage, I gave birth to my daughters, and in my second marriage, I gave birth to myself. Yeah.